Hey, welcome to the Pitch Black unboxing show. We've got with us here Kamilah Bartley from Black Sunrise. Welcome, Kamilah.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Absolutely a pleasure. Now, we met at the UK Black Business Show back in October. And one of the great things you had on display, well, you had a range of stuff on display, some lovely products. And we just wanted to kind of find out a little bit more about you and who you are. Is that okay?
Of course, yeah. So my name is Kamilah, and I run a company called Black Sunrise. You may have seen our logo out and about. So we are a healthy hat alternative company, and all of our hats, caps, beanies, and even hoodies are lined with satin. So it's a really simple concept. We want to be able to encourage and support healthy hair, especially natural hair. We know how hard it is in the winter, but for those that are embracing and learning their natural hair, as we've seen so many people do over the last few years, we're just providing to just make it a little bit easier, especially when it gets to those cold winter months and we're looking for protective styles. But it's also about having everyday tools that just make the daily routine easier, so we can embrace our hair in a way that doesn't have to feel like a chore. You know, having tools that make the everyday easier, it means that when we actually look at our hair, we don't see it as a challenge, as a problem that we have to, you know, go over, or we have to get through. It's part of having good tools so we can start to appreciate and understand that knowing our hair is also a journey in itself. So,
Okay. And what did you aspire to do before you built your brand? Have you always wanted to do this, or as with most things, did you kind of stumble onto this?
I never wanted to start a business. I come from a family of business owners. It was never something I wanted to do. I'm a radiographer, so I actually work in MRI, so I work in MRI specifically, and that is my day-to-day. A lot less glamorous at times, as you can imagine. I've always, especially for the last few years, worked in like trauma hospitals and stuff across London. Completely different from running a healthy hat business. And yet, like I said before, me, myself, learning and embracing my own natural hair, it's the small things. And it's going into work, and it's so funny because so many people will have a similar situation. It's going into work and not wearing a hat because you don't want to mess up your hair on the way in. And if you do wear a hat, you see sometimes the aunties do it. They put like a scarf underneath their hat and then they put their hat on, and then having to explain that. And I think whenever you're working in an environment, it doesn't matter if it's London or if you're in the countryside, it doesn't matter if it's supposed to be diverse or not. I think it's that pause of explanation that we all have to add into our day-to-day. It's so for me, whenever I have my hats, I like the fact that you don't know that they're satin lined, that you look at them and they just like normal hats, because for me, it's about sharing your story, sharing your quirks or whatever it is when you choose to. So having subtle things to me is really important. And I remember sitting on the train. I'd finished a 12-hour shift the day before. I was on my way to start a 12-hour shift, and I was freezing cold because it was like the Hammersmith and City line, and I was just cold and I wanted a hat. And I wanted a hat, and I wasn't quite ready to transfer to the auntie season of putting the scarf underneath the hat. I was just like, I really want a hat that would like work like a bonnet, but without the social stigma. Or, you know, you have men that have you know, the do-rags, but I have a brother, it's the social stigma that comes with it. It's always negative. to be a professional, to be a contributing member society, and not be able to think, can I get a hat that fits me? Can I get a hat that like will love my hair and protect it? And can I take it off without feeling embarrassed when I get to the office? Do I have to like run to the bathroom first and then like, you know, get the quick brush out? Like, why can't I just like get to work, take off my hat, feel comfortable and start my day?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So that's what inspired you to
Pretty
do
much.
it for yourself
Yeah.
and for all of us.
Yeah, pretty much. It started off like that. You know, you put it in the girls' chat and you say, would anyone else want one of these? And then just different things kept coming to me. Like I said, I work in a hospital. One of the things that I notice is when people go through chemo, they develop really sensitive scalps. So they often have like satin scarves on their heads and things like that. That can be really pretty, but they're cold in the winter time.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you go to the gym and, you know, you see you have the tiniest, you know, you have a baseball cap and you always have like the tiniest hole at the back and you're thinking there's no way possible. So like I have like half caps so you can wear your Afro puff. And I know a lovely lady that has a shaved head and she dyes it like every 3 months and she loves it because she's like, everyone can see like the color of of her hair through the hole. We do like normal size hats as well, like still with a larger hole for ponytails, but everything inside is always like satin lined. So everything to the edges, everything's designed to just front edges, the whole hair, just to protect your hair. Like you should always feel like comfortable and confident about your hair, but also it should be a way that it's not just like a short-term fix. You know, that was kind of like the problem with like, you know, the relaxers and everything else is that they're short-term fixes, but they don't love your hair, they don't encourage your hair, and it's about showing off. It's crazy how many people find that when they went natural, they found it hard to find their identity in it because they knew it's the right thing or the encouraged thing to do now, but they found it hard to find themselves in it. And not every day you want to spend half an hour detangling. So for me, like a big win, it's just like I do it all the time. Like I've got somewhere to go, I'm in a rush, I take my hat and I literally just like pop it on. I go out and about and then I take it off. And it's like it's doing the same thing. So for me, it's just about like practicality. So I think giving people the choice to express themselves how they want to and giving them a healthier option to do it. That's kind of how it started. And it just
I'm starting to wonder, you know, Kamilah, I'm wondering if your hats were about back in the day, I probably wouldn't have lost my hair.
Yeah, well, hair loss is one of the categories we kind of come under as well, because you tend to find people that have like thinning hair, really dry hair. And also another thing that a lot of Black people deal with is inflammatory issues. So you tend to find there's a lot of issues that we have like around like Crohn's when it comes to like, you know, a lot of women dealing with like hormonal things when it comes to you know, like polycystic ovaries or fibroids, or a lot of it's to do with like hormones and inflammation. And actually a lot of things that women deal with in a stage of alopecia, the problem is because there's the stereotype of saying, oh, you know, if you ever had braids or you ever had, you know, a wig in, it's traction alopecia. It's the first thing that the doctor will say to you, and they look at you, not intentionally, but it's that kind of like, from their point, they probably think they're doing what's best for you, but it's kind of like categorized as like a Black female, like, you know, it's traction alopecia. And then they found like a lot of women in their 40s that weren't, you know, Afro-Caribbean were dealing with the same issues. And it always tend to be like thinning eyebrows, like raising up hair. And it's an inflammatory issue. So the scalp gets irritated. We don't protect it. We don't. We put oil on our scalp, which sometimes feeds the bacteria in our scalps. There's lots of really interesting information from like trigologists and stuff that actually you have them now that specialize in particular with like Black hair and skin conditions. There's a lot of information out there that actually a lot of men and women, I think, if they were like going through that situation today, wouldn't necessarily have to have had the extent of alopecia, because more and more people are realizing that, you know, it's not okay to just say traction alopecia, or it's not just okay to say you're getting on an age, you're getting in that stage, therefore you should be okay with it. I think that's the point of all these like black brands that we're seeing, and all these companies, because we're saying, you know, it's not okay for you to give me something and tell me that that should be good enough. You know, we're determined to, if you don't want to give it to us, that's fine. Like, we're going to make it ourselves. And I think that's something that's really flowing through this, like, coming through generation. It's really exciting. Yeah,
because Kamilah, I hear you referring to the products, the hats, in terms of them being healthy hats. So they have this lovely satin lining that's protective, you know. So it was really interesting hearing you bring out some of the other things that, you know, in terms of inflammation and stuff like that, where we would typically think, oh, you've put strain and stress on your hair, like what you were saying. Actually, so would you say that your hats, in terms of keeping our heads warm and everything, is that something that you're saying would help against and guard against those things as well?
I would say, like, if you're ever having a problem with like hair loss or anything like that, I would always seek like a trichologist, someone that's registered. There's some really great ones, and I would also, obviously you can go to any, but there are a couple really good ones that I've met, like at events, like black females that have done their training, but they have specialized in particular with like black hair. And I think it's because they understand that, you know, there's different types across the board. So that would definitely be my first thing. And I would say, you know, prevention is always better than cure. And I think it helps us understanding that, you know what, your skin is an organ, your scalp is an organ, and things like maintaining moisture, keeping it clean, stopping the dryness, because, you know, we've gone from one generation to the next, from warm, sunny islands to what's outside. So things like, you know, it's the same way we treat our bodies. You know, we try to eat certain fruits and vegetables that we would get from back home. We're trying to maintain certain things to help us acclimatize. And I always say, like, the hats, especially in the winter, for me, I noticed that my hair would always break in the winter. So, you know, I put it in protective styles like braids, but, you know, braids and things, they're more management styles than actually protective styles. Because your hair twists and your hair pokes out, so it's still going to be dry, it's still going to be exposed. So it sounds really silly, but I know a lot of people just don't wear hats because it's going to mess up their hair or everything else. But, you know, that's where you lose your heat. Like, that's why your hair is really dry. And the difference between, you know, the inside and the outside is that, you know, the normal, you know, acrylics or wools or fabrics that you're going to be using, they're really going to be drying out. They're super absorbent, so they're going to be drying out all the moisture, and also like the sweating. So one of the biggest things I notice is that kids, because we do kids hats and stuff as well, and what often happens is, like, boys in particular, or girls, they're running around, they sweat. As soon as they sweat, their heads get itchy, and what do? They take the hat. Then you can't find the hat ever again. The hat's gone, right? Because you know how kids
Kamilah, I wish we had way more time to talk about this, because I'm loving the health aspect, and the protection of the hair aspect of this. So maybe we need to get you back on to just talk about specifically some of the hair challenges that we face. But speaking of challenges, what are some of the challenges you faced in terms of building and growing this business?
I would say patience.
Okay.
I think you have a product that you love, and you're passionate about, and you want to share it with as many people as possible. You go on the train, you see someone with a do-rag under their hat, you're like, no, don't do that. Or you see someone with this, like, this is what you need. And you see something, you want to help people. But it's also understanding that you need to be patient. Like, I found, like, the best PR for us has always just been word of mouth and people spreading that. Being patient, and allowing your product to grow in its natural space, its natural timeline, has probably been one of the biggest lessons that I've had to learn, I would say.
Okay. So can I ask you then, Kamilah, so how does your experience as a Black business owner differ to what you thought about Black business owners before?
Great question.
I think it's hard because social media is a difficult one. Because on social media, they only post the successful stories, you know? They talk about, oh, you know, in 2 years, 5 years, this male or female turned their life around and they're millionaires now, and now they're on this store, this store, this store. And the truth is that it's all the everyday struggles that people don't see. You know, it's the late nights that you work. It's the thankless emails you respond to and you don't get any responses back. It's so different because, you know, I think we're in a society that only applauds winning, when actually the true understanding of running a business is that most days aren't a win, and if you survive, it's a win. And most things that you do aren't applauded for or won't get recognition for. And you know, whenever you start a business as a owner, and unfortunately, like as a Black business owner, a Black business, you know, like price points is always like, oh, but why is it this? And having to it's not about justifying yourself, but, you know, because we live in fast fashion, because, you know, someone can make 10,000 items and someone can make it and do it for like, you know, £2 and everything else, but trying to keep of like ethical, as well as understanding that, you know, we are a culture and we, if anything, need to learn more that in order to grow, we have to like support each other and support our own, exactly as like other cultures have done traditionally. So being a
so with that in mind, Kamilah, what would your one advice be to business owners starting out or business startups who have a great idea and they really believe this will change change something significant for people out there? What would your one bit of advice be to them?
I'd say, like, know your worth. Stay true to yourself. And it's very important to have people around you that aren't yes people and are going to be willing to tell you no. You know, you need that kind of realistic advice around you. But, you know, don't, you have to you have to understand your worth, because the truth is that, you know, no hat price or no hoodie price can really equate for the hours and the minutes and the nights you don't sleep. Like, you're never going to get that. You're never going to get the flowers for that. And that's okay. So, and you have to stand for it, because, you know, not everyone will agree for it, and that's fine. But you can't win everyone. You know, you have to be like, some people just wasn't for you and let them go. Like, it's not your job. The same way we say in the work, it's not our job to educate everyone. Sometimes in our own communities, it's not our job to educate everyone as well. So just stay true.
Just stay true. Stick to your guns. And know your worth. So you mentioned there hats and hoodies. So, you know, it sounds like you have a range there. So can you tell me what's your favorite product from your range?
I would say the one I use the most is we do satin line headrest covers for the car.
Okay, good. Good.
So we do, like, they're like designed to shape to like the car, so they look nice in your car. So you don't have to worry like you put a shiny bonnet on. They're black, they're sleek, and obviously every time I get in the car, I use that. So I can do my hair on a journey. I can rest back, and I don't have to worry about it because my hair's still gonna look nice. But I would say like
very good.
my brother has one too, and he's like, I like it. It feels nice on the back of my head. But the other one I would say is like my kind of decadent one would probably be the hoodies, just because they're really soft. So they're like, this is actually one of the kiddies ones that I have here because we have kids ones. But they are 100% cotton. The lining in the hoods are satin.
Good.
It's really soft and really thick. So even if I'm in the house, I'll pop those on. I don't know if you can see them, but it's even if I'm in the house, I'll put it on. They're super warm, and it's just like I can just wrap up and just be comfortable. And even if I've just put my hair in a couple of plaits, I've got my hoodie on all day, and I don't feel like you know, when I take it off, I'm gonna have a problem. But I'd say I probably live in a hoodie a little bit more than I probably should. But the hoodie is probably like one of my favorites.
Wow. So
We-
it sounds like you've got a range of stuff going on, which is brilliant. So what can we expect from Black Sunrise for the next year?
I have a couple of products in mind coming. A lot of people usually say like, why don't you do like bonnets and stuff like that? Probably because I kind of like being a niche and I like creating things that I have to like really think outside of the box for. And as well, it's like, it's also great to support other Black owned businesses by also like recommending these products that we see quite often. I've got one or two ideas that hopefully should be hitting the shelves this year. And I would like to, I'd probably like to be seen a little bit more, but maybe more in the community. So maybe more in like your local hairdressers and maybe more places that not just to be seen, but to actually make an impact. Because I think it's more than just getting into places. You may have seen that obviously we're in this edition of Pitch, but we're also in this edition of British Vogue as well. We're in a small segment in British Vogue as well. So for me, hopefully just, I would say a few new items, try not to, another hard thing with the business is not growing too big too quickly. But trying to fine tune what works for us, improve on the feedback that we do get, because I do always read all of it, and just trying to provide items that people will genuinely use and will help them in their day-to-day.
Brilliant. So we're going to go to an unboxing of your product in a few moments, but just before we do, can we ask, where do we find the products? For people listening out there, where do we find them?
So our main website, which is black-sunrise.co.uk. If you pop Black Sunrise in Google, we'll pop up, and we've got our Instagram, like at black.sunrise_. Pop us in Google, we pop up at the top, and you'll be able to find us quite happily. But yeah, online you can order with us pretty happily. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, and it all brings you back to the website. So yeah.
Brilliant. So, hey, I've got my Black Sunrise beanie with the satin lining. It feels so warm. It feels so very comfortable. So, hey, make sure you go out and get one. So now, Kamilah, we are going to end with the quick fire section. This is the section where we don't want you to think too much. We just want you to say it as it comes. So the quick fire dozen. First question. Jollof
or rice and peas?
Rice and peas.
Okay. Plantain
or plantain?
Plantain.
Okay. Beach holiday
or city break?
Beach.
And this is a business related question now. Cash flow
or capital appreciation?
Cash flow.
Okay. Netflix or YouTube? That was you supposed to say YouTube. Right. Netflix.
I was on YouTube. Sorry.
YouTube, okay. Reggae
or Afrobeats?
Reggae.
Okay. Funny enough, I thought you'd say that. Listening to music
or listening to a podcast?
Music.
Okay. Uber Eats
or Deliveroo?
Uber Eats.
Okay. All right, stocks and shares.
or crypto?
Stocks and shares.
Okay. Samsung
or Apple?
Samsung.
Night in
or night out?
Probably night in.
Okay. Yeah. You're just thinking about the pandemic, aren't you?
No, I was thinking, you go out and then you want to come home, so probably night in.
Fair enough, fair enough. And this is a big one. This is massive, massive.
It's a big one for Colin.
Wars have been fought over this. Civilizations have been destroyed because of this. Oxtail
or curry goat?
If there's butter beans, it's got to be the oxtail.
Oh,
Great
Oxtail is
answer.
winning.
Yeah,
Oxtail is
Oxtail
really
seems to be
winning. So
Brilliant.
fabulous. It's wars have been fought in Colin's belly.
In my own mind.
So,
Listen, Kamilah, it's been an absolute pleasure engaging with you, chatting with you, and hearing about the story behind Black Sunrise. And you can go and buy your beanie, your hoodies. They're all satin lined, and you can get them from www.black-sunrise.co.uk. So thank you so much, Kamilah Bartley.
Thank
you.
you.